Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist, coming back with you again today with my cohort, David Piatek of VA Housing Education. What's going on, David?
Doing great. No, thanks for having me on again. Always great to talk to the audience about all the things that are changing and things that are happening in the VA home loan and disability space.
Yeah, guess what I saw the other day?
What'd you see?
They were advertising a snowmobile in my local Lowe's. I was like, you've got to. I saw it to take a screenshot and send it to you just to get you ready, prepare you
I
for the.
appreciate it. Yeah, it's starting to cool down a little bit by me, but yeah, we'll see how this winter is gonna be.
All right. So if you haven't already, make sure you go to David Piatek's YouTube channel, VA Housing Education. Make sure you like and subscribe. Also, hit that notification button so you can get updated when he uploads those instrumental VA home loan videos. Also, you can catch us second Wednesday of every month. We go live and answer your questions for 1 hour. So,
Yep.
today's video. What are some of the first steps or things that you need to do before submitting a claim to VBA for compensation and before you purchase a home using your VA home loan? So, Dave, I'll start us out the gate.
Yep.
First thing you need to do for VA compensation is actually two things. One, make sure you call 800-827-1000, 800-827-1000. That is VBA's, Veterans Benefit Administration's National Call Center. And you want to do an intent to file. So regardless of who you work for, or I'm sorry, work for, who you work with, that intent to file is going to benefit you. Now, also rolled up in the first thing is get yourself mentally prepared. David, a lot of veterans, I even do this, okay?
I
A
know.
lot of veterans do not mentally prepare themselves because sometimes this can be an uphill battle. So now I'll turn it over to you, David.
Listen, it could be the same thing with the VA home loan. Right? I mean, I feel like this is a battle space that we're just trying to navigate. But I'll tell you the first thing you need to do before even applying for a home loan is to check your eligibility to use the VA home loan. And so there's a lot of confusion around who qualifies, who doesn't. I did a whole video on that, so you can check out my channel and take a look. But you really need to submit a request for what's called your certificate of eligibility. It doesn't always come back automatically. Sometimes, if you have to submit different paperwork, like if you served in the Guard, like your NGB 22, your annual point statements. And I mentioned that because I do get a lot of calls where, let's say you're already 100% permanent in total, but you don't qualify for the VA home loan because you don't meet the requirements for it, which is unfortunate, right? So, not saying, I'm not even talking about credit or income. I'm just saying to use and get a VA home loan, you may not be qualified for it. So you can go to va.gov and pull it, or you could schedule a call with me in the description and we can pull it for you so you know that you want to have it. Now, if you just purely want a COE, you can just go to va.gov and grab it. It's relatively simple.
Now, Dave, before I get to step two of what you need to do for the compensation side, I've had veterans reach out to me, and maybe you can explain this. They said, hey, they told me my character discharge. I need to get that upgraded before I can get a CUE. Can you talk about that real quick?
Yeah, that is an important one. So if you served in the National Guard or Reserve, you have to have an honorable discharge. If you are an active duty general or honorable above, and if you have the latter, then you won't be able to use the VA loan until you have a discharge upgrade. Now, recently I did help somebody that had a dishonorable discharge get to a general, and they were active duty, so then they're able to do that. I don't know what that process looks like, because I know that they've attributed a lot of like PTSD, different things that happened in service, to saying, hey, like they shouldn't have been discharged, they were misdiagnosed. But I don't know if you could talk to that a little bit, but that actually would be a pretty good video if you don't have one.
Yeah, I hear that misdiagnosed, and I'm still trying to understand that term, misdiagnosed. When I hear misdiagnosed, hey, um, you said I had PTSD, but I had migraines. That's when I think of,
Oh, I got you. I'm saying
you know.
like you did something in service that was because of
Oh,
your PTSD, and then
right,
they kick you out dishonorably because they didn't relate the two things, right? They're like, oh, this soldier has issues, like we didn't help address them, and now we're kicking them out, like when we should have actually gotten them treatment.
right, right. So I actually did a video, have a video, and this video didn't get a lot of views. I was shocked.
Yeah.
You can go to the VA's website and start that um, discharge upgrade. And I show people in that video, and then you print it out,
Oh
you
wow.
print the form out, and you send it to your branch of service. And a lot of people, they'll come to me and say, "Hey, how do I do this?" I'm like, "Watch the video," because you can go to the VA's website. And this is about investing the time because I think it's worthwhile. Like you said, you could be 100% permanent total, but you can't buy a home because of your character of discharge. So, yeah, thanks for that, David. So, number two on go
Does
ahead.
it make a difference if you have a dishonorable discharge? Can you get VA disability?
No.
Oh wow.
Bad conduct, dishonorable. I think I did a video where I was explaining character of discharge determination. They call it COD. So they
Okay.
go out, like you said, something happened in service, and maybe it was due to PTSD, and then that's with the VA. They'll say either you are eligible for
Gotcha.
compensation and healthcare benefits, or are you a bar, and that is called a character discharge determination letter.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the second thing is veterans, they have to understand what it is they want to claim. And once they make that determination, they have to figure out under the different waves of service connection, where does these conditions fall? So you have pre-service aggravation. What that means is you had a condition prior to service and your military service aggravated. The number one condition that I see, pes planus, flat feet. That happened to me, okay, on your entrance exam. Number two, direct service connection. You need three elements: current diagnosis, link in service, and a nexus. Then you have to have, the next one is increase. You're already service connected and you state your condition has gotten worse. And David, this is where the number one way I saw veterans overall percentage go the opposite way
Oh,
because
it's unfortunate.
they don't take the time to read the rating decision, because if it tells you this is why we granted 20%, it'll also tell you this is why we didn't grant the 30. So you go back and look at the criteria for the 30 and start building your evidence. And they don't do that. And they just go in thinking,
Wow.
oh, I was down my local VFW and somebody said, you know. And then you have secondary service connection. You need a current diagnosis, and the primary condition has to be service connected. Last but not least, presumptives. You have 1 year, 3 year, 7 year, Agent Orange presumptive, Camp Lejeune contaminated water presumptive, um, Gulf War presumptive. And when it comes to presumptives, you definitely need a diagnosis. It has to be during a particular time frame and the location. Again, veterans, they just say, oh, I had wore the uniform and I got diagnosed under VHA, and they file their claim under VBA and they get denied. So, Dave, what
Wow.
is the next thing that a veteran needs to do when it comes to VA home loans?
So it's kind of two things in one. It's credit and budget. Okay, those are two very important pieces. Now, if you watched my videos before, you know that the VA technically doesn't have a minimum credit score, but no one, I mean, rarely anyone's going to lend you money with very bad credit where you have all lates, because that just shows that you won't be able to make payments on time. And then budget, because you have to be able to pay for things, right? And that's why those things are hand in hand. A budget lets you know how much you make every month and how much you spend every month. Credit will reflect your budget, because if you budget well, your credit's going to be perfect
Yep.
because you know how much your monthly payments are. You're not overextending yourself. All those things work hand in hand. And a budget's going to let you know, yes, I have the income coming in to actually qualify for what I want to buy. So eligibility, right? Hey, am I eligible for the VA home loan? Now let's talk about, right, is the credit and budget part, because the higher the credit, the better the financing terms are, right? So the worse the credit, the higher fees, higher interest rates that you pay. And lenders will, I did a whole video on what's a automated approval versus a manual approval. You want to be able to do the automated route with having good credit, because again, you avoid paying a ton in fees versus the opposite. And having credit in general is a positive thing. And I have videos on the channel also talking about not having credit actually gives you higher interest rates, even if you can prove you can have a payment history. So those are important things to understand with that. So
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So last thing on the compensation side. Now you've done your intent to file. You mentally prepared yourself. You confirmed all the conditions that you want to claim, where they fall under the different ways of service connection. Start building a paper trail. David, when I rated, I was just thinking about this over the weekend. If a veteran came in and said, I'm claiming a back condition and is documented in service, I didn't care if they had a current diagnosis or not. I'm scheduling
oh,
the CMP exam. And then the examiner could tell me, do they have a diagnosis and what are the residuals? But these days, things have changed. You definitely need that diagnosis, because what I've seen examiners do is say, even though the veteran was treated in service, the condition has resolved. And it's hard for them to say that if you have built that paper trail. So when you submit that intent to file, you have 365 days. And I tell people, start building that paper trail. If you're claiming a mental condition, hey, make an appointment every week, especially if you got a copay, or every 2 weeks. So when it comes time, 3, 4, 6 months down the road, and you get ready to file that claim, now you have evidence to back up that diagnosis. It's going to be hard for that CMP examiner to say you don't have a diagnosis. It's also going to be harder for that rater to say there's no continuity, there's no continued treatment since service. So intent to file, and then give yourself time to build up that evidence. And I think that's where a lot of veterans go wrong, and they put the cart before the horse, and they don't do that. So,
yeah.
Dave, with that being said, go ahead and share with us, what is the final thing that someone needs to do before they file it or apply for a VA home loan?
Yeah. So definitely, knowing that you're eligible to use a V loan, having the right credit, right budget is important. And the last thing is going to be assets. Now, this isn't really talked about much, because the VA, unless you have investment properties where they require reserves, the VA typically, like when we're running our systems, doesn't require any type of reserves. Now, for people that own homes before, and I know this from very personal experience, and just happened over the weekend where the roof was leaking. Having reserves lets you fix certain things in your home. And we have to remember, when you buy a home, you have to buy furniture. I mean, I just talked to somebody, this was the other day, and they're like, yeah, we already purchased furniture. I'm like, how much did you guys spend? I'm like, it was 20 grand. I'm like, jeez. Right. So you do still need to have moving costs. You have to have things that you're buying, especially if you're moving into a bigger home and you're used to living in a small place. Now, I also know people, Dwayne, that live out of boxes, and that's okay, right?
Yeah.
If that's the style you want to go for. And just as a side note with furniture, there are veteran nonprofits out there that you can go to get free furniture if you show that you're a disabled veteran. So that's just a side note.
Is it
I didn't know
new
about that till
furniture or used
recently.
furniture?
It's a used furniture, and also they
Okay.
have some new, so it's both, but
Okay.
it's like in good condition. So
Right.
that's the positive part. Sometimes they take like old furniture, and refurbish it, but what I've seen, it's actually really nice. So, having those emergency funds in the event something goes wrong with the home, or you got to have moving costs, or if you were to lose your job, or you had a emergency come up, or you had to use more money than you thought, you have money to fall back on. And that's not talked about a lot in the veteran space. So even when I'm watching YouTube videos around VA home loans to get ideas, I'm not really seeing that reserve piece. So I'll actually make a video, separate video on understanding what it is, how to set it up. But a budget will help you do that, right? So that is a very important step to that part. But I want to say thank you, Dwayne, for having me on again. Looking forward to our next live event.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Dave. I always learn something new. I was totally clueless about the reserve, so definitely I will be looking out for that particular video. And I just thought about over the weekend, I have your tagline for your name.
Is it? Let's hear it. Let's throw it out to the people.
Yeah, David, the
Okay.
VA Home Loan GOAT Piatek.
Okay. Let's see what the
Yeah,
people say.
yeah, VA Home Loan GOAT. Let us know if you like it. Also, a lot of you, after Dave and I do a video or live stream, you leave me a comment and say, hey, what do I do? What do I do about VA home loans? Click the link in the description section. Schedule a call with David. You will meet with him or someone on his team. Make sure you ask him questions
Yep.
before you pull that trigger. So with that being said, make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.
Thank you.